Hello and welcome to week 7 of the Transfer Portal CFB Gambling Show. I'm joined by Matt. There's just two of us today. Matt, how we doing?
Doing great. Yankees won game 1. We're vibing. We're gonna get, by the time this is posted, they'll have won game 2. We're doing great here.
Yeah, Thursday doesn't get rained out. We got a great slate this week. This is probably the best slate of college football all year. But before we start, a word from our sponsor. Winning season is officially returned, and with the NCAA back in action, plenty of opportunities to win at MyBookie. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or first timer, MyBookie gets you the most for your money with a double deposit bonus up to $1,000. To claim your bonus, sign up and use the promo code TRANSFER on your first deposit, and you'll instantly double your money with MyBookie. It's simple. First-time bettors make a $100 deposit. That puts $200 in your account, and you can use your funds to bet on as many individual games, contests, or props as you want. Bet on team win totals. Take Penn State live to win the Big Ten, the national championship, whatever you think. Or use a MyBookie prop builder to give yourself the edge and secure the bag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. I'm very excited for this slate. I think how many? There's 5.
I think 6. No?
6? Yeah, it's some with top 25 teams. It's an incredible slate. And as I look at it, I see Miami's there. They're playing in 30. What a disappointment team is. But nobody plays in Miami. They stink. We are going to be – this is going to come out on Friday, so no Thursday plays for us. Looks like I'm 1-0 with Wednesday. I took the Cajuns, so starting it off right. But the first game we'll talk about is Texas-Iowa State. Matt, I know you got something there.
I have 2 things here. So I have the Texas spread and I have the under. Iowa State has been playing some low-scoring football games lately, and I can't believe this spread is at 49.5. I think that's entirely on the Texas side because Texas obviously blew out Oklahoma 49-0, so they're expecting them to maybe put up some points. But Iowa State has had 2 games in the past 3 weeks that had a combined less than 20 points. So I'm taking the under 49.5 here, and then I'm taking Texas minus 16.5 with the spread. I think they look phenomenal. I don't think Iowa State will be able to score on them at all. This Texas defense is really good, and Quinn Ewers is back, and he's slinging it again.
Yeah, it's a real shame that Ewers was hurt and couldn't play because I think if he is able to play, they probably beat Alabama, and they are probably looking at the outside looking in on the college football playoff spot. But yeah, I like Texas a lot in this game. I like that under because the Texas defense, nobody's really talking about them. But that's a great defense. I've been on Texas unders. I've been betting on Texas, but I really like that play. So we're on. That's Texas and the under. I think Texas wins this game like 30-7 or something. So you should be pretty good there. Next game on our slate. This one's very near and dear to me. Penn State, Michigan. I'm a little frightened. My article will be out soon, previewing. I know bye week everything. Penn State coming off the bye. Michigan, top 5 team in the country. Everybody loves Michigan. Penn State +7. That's the play. I want to take the money line, but I'm a chicken. This game opened up. So I was like, one of my friends goes through lines early because he's a little crazy, but that's what we do as well. And he found that on DraftKings, sorry, my bookie, you got to bring this up at DraftKings. They made a mistake. They opened this up at 10.5. So I know a couple of my friends have a lot of money on that 10.5 line. It was only up for an hour, and then it was gone. And then Monday morning, Penn State was a touchdown dog. I think it's a big spread. I think Penn State, Michigan's 5, Penn State's 10. Michigan should probably be around 7 or 8. They haven't impressed me in any of their wins. They beat Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, and then a bad Iowa team, and then shaky against Maryland, and they were tied with Indiana at half. It's the homer in me. I really like Penn State here. A lot of teams are not – a lot of Penn State teams usually going in this game come out flat and poop the bed. But Penn State's got nothing to lose here. Usually in Penn State games, Penn State's the team that has something to worry about. They'll be in the letdown spot. I think Michigan's in the letdown spot here, and I really, really like Penn State +7. The money line's not an official play, but +7 is. I think Clifford plays well. I think Nick Singleton does really well. And I think Parker Washington gets a ton of yards, and they cover this game.
Yeah, this is by far the best team Michigan's played. This in my preview article for the season where I did like win totals, bet that kind of thing. This was one of my favorite plays was Michigan under 10.5. So obviously I wrote they have the softest non-conference schedule in the country. It's just god awful. But once they get into conference play, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for them. And I think I had actually written about Penn State. That's the first game they have a chance to lose. And I wouldn't be shocked if after coming off such a soft schedule, they have a letdown spot there. So I like +7 a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I think it should be more towards. I know you're giving them 3 points because they're at home, but that means if you're a neutral site, Michigan's getting 4. I think that makes more sense than the 7. But then if this game's in Happy Valley, you got to flip it around, and that probably opens up at Penn State +2, probably ends at a pick'em. So, yeah, I mean, I like Penn State with a 7. We'll move on from that. I could talk about that game for hours. I just did with my friends. Game for us. I'm looking at the slate right now. This isn't an official play from either of us, but, man, I want to take Kansas here. Oklahoma.
Big spread.
Yeah. Jalen Daniels being hurt kind of talked me out of it, though. I was thinking about it. It was a touchdown. Daniels confirmed out for the rest of the year. I like Bean. I think Bean's a solid quarterback, but staying away. Oklahoma.
Well, is he actually confirmed out for the rest of the year? Because, like, obviously the reports were coming out early, and then all of a sudden he started tweeting about it. Hey, that's news to me. And then the coach posted a picture with him saying, like, no sling, no nothing. He looked fine.
Oh, really? So I didn't even see that. I missed that part.
Oh yeah, so this is we talked about in the chats yesterday. So they did all their preview pods of the week, and they talked about Jalen Daniels being out for the year, and then it seeming like maybe it might not be the case, and they had to film like a retainer saying, "Hey, this news came out after we had already recorded." So I don't think he's officially out for the year. I don't even know if he's out for this game.
Well, I mean, if Jalen Daniels is in this game, then I'm taking Kansas because I think 9's too big for this Oklahoma offense. That's bad and played solid. I mean, the first half they were playing good defense against TCU until TCU kind of pulled them out a little bit. But with Daniels, I'll take Kansas, but I'm going to leave it alone for now because I like Bean, but I don't think he's good enough to put up a lot of points against an Oklahoma defense. He's not Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, there's been like no official news since the guy that there's only one guy that put out the report on it, but Jalen Daniels himself responded to the tweet and said, "That's news to me." So I don't know. Nothing official for the game yet, though. So
I love my Jayhawks this year.
Okay.
So we don't have any official plays. I'm just bringing up games that are kind of catching my eye. Minnesota, Illinois. Illinois is ranked, and this is probably the best Illinois team in a while, and they're getting 6.5. I'm sure. I think it'll probably drop to 6, but they're getting 6.5 at home against a Minnesota team who hasn't looked fantastic lately.
Yeah, that Minnesota, we talked about them going into that game they lost. We were like, is this Minnesota team a juggernaut? And no, it turns out no, they're not. But it's a close. No. I think it's a good line. I think that's probably about what it should be, but it's close.
I mean, I think Mo Ibrahim's playing. I believe he's playing. I know he's one of the best backs in the country. He's been great for Minnesota. They just run the ball. I believe Potts is the other running back. It's embarrassing that I don't know that. But, yeah, I just don't like Tanner Morgan. He's not good at all. But, yeah, I have not an official play, like a standalone play, but I do have Illinois later on, not as my lock, but I have them in one of my Trey Potts, one of my parlays. So, I mean, I think that'll be this noon slate's looking pretty good so far.
The slate's good. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great slate. Next game on the board is one of my plays. Again, I see a MAC game on the board. I'm going to take it. Central Michigan is 1-5 this year. That's not something I was expecting. I think I had them going 8-4. Excuse me.
I have a bet on them to win the MAC. So that tells you how I'm going.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how look, lost Penn State. Toledo, losing to Toledo, I get. Toledo's far and away, from what I've seen, the best team in the conference. And that game against Ball State last week, I think, the over in a teaser. The teaser missed because of that game, because that's the only one that didn't go over. But I don't know what's up with that offense. The defense was fine, but I don't know what's going on. But they're playing Akron. Akron's not good. They're a bad team. I believe they just got blown out. I know that they played Bowling Green close. Yeah, they played Bowling Green close. They lost by 3, and then Ohio blew the doors off them last week. They let up 55 points against Ohio, scored 34. I think Central Michigan covers this game and wins by like 30. They're 13.5 point favorites. I really, really like that play. I think they win by 30. I think Lou Nichols gets going again. He hasn't really been Lou Nichols of last year. They're shutting him down. They're really shutting down the run. Their offensive line isn't as good as it was last year, which is tough for Lou. But I think he gets going. I think Deanna Richardson start hitting his guys again, and Central Michigan wins this game big. I don't like Akron at all. Central Michigan needs a bounce back game, and it starts here.
I think this is a really good game for Lou because this is like the prime get back spot. Akron, I think when I look at it, was averaging 40 points a game and 200 yards on the ground a game. So that is great spot for Lou Nichols here.
Yeah, if you can get player props for this game somehow, I don't know what's offering Mac player props, but take Lou Nichols over, take him to score a touchdown. He's going to have an absolute day. So that's our noon slate. Not a lot of games, but we got some good ones on there. And then we're going to move into 3:30, and we're going to talk about the premier game of the 3:30 slot. Alabama might be on upset alert. We're going to talk about Alabama, Tennessee at Rocky Top.
If you go and look at our preview article on the Transfer Portal CFB, two writers have written about it. It was me and Josh. Both of us picked Tennessee to win this game. I think Tennessee wins this game. Am I too much of a chicken to bet the money line? Absolutely. We'll be taking Tennessee with a touchdown here. +7's crazy, especially with Bryce Young's status being up in the air. And I'd be willing, if I'm going to bet on this game, I'm waiting on it. So wait for the news to come out on Bryce Young. If he's announced as unofficially, this spread will move up a couple points, probably go to 9.5, and I take Tennessee at 9.5. If he's confirmed out, take Tennessee money line. It'll probably still be plus odds, it'll probably be a low plus, like +115, +130. So I'm waiting on the Bryce Young news to bet on this game, but I still think Tennessee wins this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm on the same side of you. I love Tennessee. I love Hendon Hooker. I think that they look fantastic. I don't think Milroe for Alabama is a bad quarterback. I just think he's very inexperienced, and an inexperienced guy. I mean, his inexperience showed last week against Texas A&M where they almost lost that game. And he goes in this environment as a starting quarterback. He might struggle like he did last week, but even if Bryce Young is playing, the 9.5 for sure. I mean, I was considering taking that as my lock, to be honest. But I like Tennessee a lot. They are going to be fired up for this game. They haven't beat Alabama in, 16 years?
15 straight games.
Yeah, it's been so long. I'm going to be playing I Hate Alabama. It's a great country song.
Rocky Top Tennessee is going to be blasting in the streets of Knoxville.
They're going to be, yeah. I mean, I hope they win just because I need to shake up and I need the poll of death to have a new number one. I would love to see that happen. But yeah, we're both on Tennessee. I love Smokey. I hope. Is this a checker game? They're gonna checker it out, right?
I might imagine they have to, right?
They have to checker this game out. This is the biggest game that they've had in quite some time. This is the best team they've had in quite some time. I love the Vols.
It's the best team they've had, and it's the most mortal Alabama has looked in a long time. Like this has been.
Yeah. That's the Tennessee game. Love them. Moving on, Oklahoma State TCU. I'll just touch on it really quick. I think whoever wins this game wins the Big 12. That's kind of how I see it. I think they're the two best teams. Oklahoma turned into the pumpkin. They're not good whatsoever. Texas has an outside shot. But I think these are the two best teams in the conference. Just Max Duggan, Spencer Sanders is a great quarterback matchup. I think Oklahoma State has the better defense, but TCU's offense is much more explosive. I mean, you have your plus 660 of them to win the Big 12 right now.
Plus 1,200 to win the Big 12.
Oh, it's 1,200. I was completely up on that. 660. Well, let's imagine it's plus 660. Yeah. This can be a great game. I'll be tuning in from work.
Yeah, both of these teams play Texas this year. So whoever loses, if Texas can beat them, I think Texas has maybe an outside shot. But since both of them play Texas, it's iffy for Texas to get in.
I think this is a little preview of who's going to win it. Two very good Big 12 teams this year. And the Big 12 always, that's the conference. Everyone eats each other up. But these are the two best teams. And then the next game on the board, no official plays again once again from us, but this is just a great game. Syracuse, NC State. I think these two teams are both solid, but I also think they're incredibly overrated. I don't think NC State should be 15. I think Syracuse should be ranked. I don't know about 18 in the country. Syracuse at the Dome. It's still the Carrier Dome in my heart. They're a 3.5 point favorite. If it was smaller, I would take the Syracuse money line, but I'm kind of scared to lay that wood. I know their defense has been really good. They got kind of lucky beating a very good Purdue team, but they struggled against Virginia. Virginia stinks. NC State struggled against Notre State, who I think is overrated. Clemson, they lost a relatively close game too, but no official plays. But I do like Syracuse to win it.
Yeah, Syracuse hasn't really played anybody but Purdue, in my opinion. And then NC State obviously has had a much tougher schedule, but you got to play who you play. But yeah, I think NC State's probably going to keep this close. I wish this was like +5.5, +6.5, and I hammer the spread, but at 3.5, it's just scary.
Yeah, Vegas got us here. They set this line perfectly, and I feel like either way, 3.5 is just. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a close game. Regardless, it's gonna be low scoring. The total's 42, but it'll be a good one for sure. It's on ACC Network, which is absolutely ridiculous. It should be on primetime television. This game we're about to talk about is on primetime television. Arkansas is going to Provo. Arkansas has lost 3 straight. BYU's coming off a loss. Matt, what do you got?
I have the Arkansas money line here. It started as plus odds, so if you got it early in the week, it was plus odds, but now it's moved to, I think Arkansas is favored by like 1.5. So it's like -120, -130, where depending on what your book is. But I think the big issue here for BYU is they're very susceptible against the run. Their defense has been good overall, but they're very susceptible against the run, which is obviously what Arkansas is going to look to do. I think this is going to be a big KJ Jefferson game. I think he's gonna run for a couple of touchdowns, and then I don't think BYU is gonna be able to just completely move the ball. Their offense has been shaky, and I don't think, obviously the Arkansas defense hasn't been great, but I don't think they're gonna be able to move the ball against Arkansas that well.
The total here is 66. I mean, I don't have a play in it. I don't like Arkansas because they're kind of ruining my poll right now, where they've lost 3 straight. But stick at number 19 because you can't move anybody down if they lose to a team ranked higher than them. They keep losing to teams ranked higher than them. I think these are 2 overrated football teams coming into the year. I think both of them being unranked is not what kind of college football wanted. I still think it'll be a good game. But I agree, BYU's been having trouble moving the ball. Jaron Hall has looked a little bit shaky. But if you want to kind of flip things over, Arkansas's pass defense is atrocious. They can't stop anyone. So if Jaron Hall can make plays like he did against Baylor, I mean, he didn't look good against Notre Dame. That was kind of, they were in the cool arrow route at the goal line, but that's kind of the only highlight from their offense that game. I think that Arkansas traveling to Provo is going to be weird. I don't think anybody on Arkansas has ever been in an environment like that. Not saying that they hadn't played in big games, but Provo, like you hear guys say all the time, Provo's a weird place to play because everybody's all jacked up on like soda and everything, and it's crazy. It's a weird environment. They eat those cougar tail things. I don't even know what they are, but I think it'll be a good game. I know play for me. I kind of like the over, but 66 is too high, so I'm not going to make that an official play.
Yeah. BYU's lost 4 straight against the spread. Like the worst game for me, in my opinion, like losing against Oregon, whatever. Oregon's a pretty good team. Losing against Notre Dame. Notre Dame was supposed to be good coming out of the year. Obviously, haven't. Being in that close of a game against Utah State was iffy for me.
That was bad.
Utah State's a bad team.
Yeah. I mean, Utah State just beat Air Force as well. I mean, my Air Force narrative. They're my lock again last week. I've lost 2 locks in a row.
We can now comfortably say we can fade the entire state of Colorado after they lose.
Air Force really, really disappointed me last week. But next game for us, Maction again. I wish I was wearing my Maction shirt right now, but it's in the wash. Toledo, Kent State. I am on over. Is it 61? Yes, 61 over 61.
That's exactly what I'm on too.
This should be 68. I don't know why it's 61. I know that Kent State's been shaky and their offense hasn't looked fantastic. Toledo, far and away, I said earlier, the best team in the MAC. They should win the MAC with no issues. Kent State was my pick to win the MAC, but they just lost to Miami of Ohio. They beat Ohio in overtime. They're still alive, Kent State. If they can win this game, I think they very well have a shot to win the MAC. But Toledo's just too gosh darn good. DeQuan Finn is the best quarterback in the conference. I like Colin Schlee for Kent State. I like their offense. but Toledo's offense is much better. Kent State's defense is not good. I think Toledo could put up 45 points themselves, and Kent State just has to put up 23 touchdowns. I think they'll score 24 points. Yeah, I'm on the over. I hope Kent State keeps this close in a high-scoring game. I just don't know if they can. Toledo's way too good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also on the over. Both teams are in the top 20 in terms of like passing efficiency, like EPA per play, that kind of thing. Both of them are the top 20 in the country. And then on defense, Kent State is like, I think 114th. They're really bad on defense. And then Toledo's not as bad, but they're still like middling 70th, somewhere in the middle. I think both of these teams are going to be able to move the ball through the air really well. College State is already like 9 yards an attempt. And then Daquan Finn is obviously sensational. He's been electric all year. I think this comfortably goes over 60.5. I think this is what we're looking like when Toledo played against Ohio State, and they're overhit in the third quarter. I think we're potentially looking at another thing like that. They're going to put up a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun game. It's on ESPN Plus. I wish it was on ESPNU or something, but ESPN Plus works as well. And that Toledo Ohio State game, that was one of my locks. I was pretty proud of that one. I'm going back to the MAC. Ohio, Western Michigan. This is another overplay for me. This one's at 57. I might parlay these two, but I'm definitely taking them as separate plays on my card. Last week, Ohio put up 55 points against Akron. Western Michigan led up 45 points against Eastern Michigan. They also put up 44 points against New Hampshire. And then their defense is not good. They struggled against San Jose State. I think I took Western Michigan money line that, which was bad. Jose State's actually a pretty good team. But I think Ohio, Curtis Rourke, was not high on Curtis Rourke coming into the season, but he has kind of shut me up, and he's the Maple Missile, as they call him, has had a very, very solid season so far. I think that Ohio puts up a lot of points. Their defense isn't great. I think Western Michigan will also put up some points. I know that Jack Salapak isn't the best quarterback. Salapak, however you say his last name. But I could see them putting up a good amount of points. I think Western Michigan scores 4 touchdowns, and I think Ohio scores like 6 or 7. So I'm on over 57. This will be another fun game. This one's on TV, though, CBS Sports Network. So tune into that.
And just for the record, anyone who's watching, if you ever see us take an under on a action game, just call the police, notify our families. We've been taken. Someone's impersonating us. That is not us. If we have max to play, it's probably an over.
Yeah, if there's a action under, it's either if we take action unders, but we're asking for help. There's something seriously wrong. We're kind of coming to the end of our card here because we'd have nothing. LSU, Florida. That those are two very mid teams. Neither of them really, nothing there. I like South Alabama against Louisiana Monroe. 17 is just too big for me. I think South Alabama could very well win the Sun Belt, but 17 is too big. It's on NFL Network. It's hilarious to put Sun Belt games on NFL Network. But the game we do have a play in, you have a play in, Clemson, Florida State, 7:30 on ABC.
Yeah, this spread is weird to me. Like, I get Florida State's at home, but 3.5 is weird. So Florida State's coming off 2 losses to NC State and Wake Forest, which are like the two biggest challenges that Clemson had in the early part of the year, and they passed both of those. They stepped up to the plate. I thought both of us thought Clemson was in for a down year this year, and when our AC's preview, Clemson stepped up to the plate in every challenge they've faced. DJ has been a bit better, not great, but better. And then Florida State has obviously just lost both of those teams they just played, and that I think 3.5 is just too low. Clemson's defense is too good. I don't think Florida State's going to be able to score the ball very much. I think DJ is going to be able to put up enough points on the board that they cover this pretty easily.
Yeah, I didn't have this on my card originally, but I'm going to take Clemson 3.5. I might buy it down to 3 because I'm a bit of a chicken. But yeah, I'll lay that wood for the -3. I think Clemson going into the season, we weren't high on them. I wasn't high on Ungulele. We just weren't high on them, but they're battle tested. They've proven to themselves. They covered on Red Bandana Day. That's all you need to know. If they cover against BC on Red Bandana Night, you're a good football team.
Hey man, your Boston College money line from our preview didn't hit. Yeah,
man, absolutely terrible. Thank goodness that wasn't clipped and posted. Yeah, I like Clemson. They showed they were good. Wake Forest. They can win in any kind of way. NC State, they beat like they should have. I mean, they could have won that game by more. NC State's not very good, but they controlled the game and they won the way that that was probably the game script. They wanted to not really try to blow them out, not play like they did against Wake Forest, but a slower game.
Yeah.
And Florida State, I mean, I know people are very high on Florida State. They never, I never bought it. I mean, they beat LSU. Congrats. Louisville, what a disaster. Our ACC preview, an absolute disaster.
Shambles.
And then they lost to Wake. I knew they'd lose to Wake. They were touchdown favorite there. And then NC State, that was a tough game for them. But, I mean, they're not bad, Florida State, but Clemson is just way, way better. And Clemson wins this game pretty easily.
Jordan Travis has improved, but I don't think he's ready to beat the Clemson defense.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, I know there's a couple games that we have around the rest of the night, but we only got one more play. It's my play. I'm on Mississippi State -4 at Kentucky. Will Levis is not confirmed, he's not confirmed to be in the game, nor is he confirmed to be out of the game. I think regardless, what's up?
Nor is he confirmed to be good.
He's not good. He's not. That's why even if he does play, I don't think that they're going to win the game. I think Mississippi State wins this game. Mississippi State is a very good football team. And I know that Mike Leach has these teams that are good and they eventually fall apart. This team is different. I think Will Rogers is a great quarterback. We were talking earlier that I think earlier in the season that he could see himself being in New York for a Heisman candidate. Maybe if he keeps playing the way that he has been playing, I could see it happening. I just think Mississippi State's a much better football team than Kentucky. Kentucky lost to South Carolina. I know Will Levis was hurt. If Will Levis playing that game, is it really that big of a difference? Maybe. It's a closer game. Maybe they pull it out. I don't think so. South Carolina, you're playing South Carolina at home. South Carolina's not good. And I know you're home again. Mississippi State, way better than South Carolina. They probably have a better defense. They have a way better offense. Will Rogers is way better than Spencer Rattler. And they're gonna wipe the floor with Kentucky in their season. They'll be playing in like the Music City Bowl, Kentucky. Woo! It's a letdown for them, and it stinks. But Will Levis is not the guy. He never was the guy.
I know neither of us play in this, but what do you think about the USC Utah game?
What's that spread? I think it's
3.5 right now for Utah.
See, I mean, Utah, USC is a more explosive offense than UCLA does, and they struggled with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And UCLA, I think USC covers. I know it's at Utah. Wait, Utah's favorite?
Yeah, Utah's favored.
Oh my goodness gracious! Add USC money line for me. That's an official play. I thought that line was USC. Is USC? Oh, is Addison maybe not playing? Is that what it is?
It hasn't been confirmed in or out, but I think he came back in after he got hurt last game. So we would assume, unless it's the kind of thing where like he played on adrenaline and swelling after the game, but you would assume he'd play given that he came back into the game last week. Yeah.
All right. So add USC money line for me. I like that a lot. USC money line. They're better than UCLA, and Utah hasn't. Who did they lose to again? My brain's all over the place. But who did Utah lose? They lost to Florida. That's what it was. Again, Anthony Robinson, like Caleb Williams is the best quarterback of those three, in my opinion. People may disagree with me, but I think that he's the best quarterback. They have Travis Dye is probably the best running back they've faced off against. Charbonnet is good, but Travis Dye is better. And USC will win this game. I know it's at Utah. It doesn't matter. I think USC is going to prove that they are legit. Maybe they'll lose down the line. Let me look at their schedule because I could see them dropping it. They play UCLA. That'll be a fun game.
That'd be the next game. Because not losing to Arizona, not losing to Colorado, not losing to Cal.
Whatever that spread is in Colorado, I'm taking. I'm taking USC teams all over. That's on the 11th. But yeah, and they won't lose today. So I mean, if they do beat Utah, potentially undefeated this year, that's got to put them in the playoff. That it puts them in the playoff no matter what.
Yeah, I would agree. I would tend to agree. This line has moved a lot. So when they dropped preseason lines, this line was USC -3, and then it had moved. Utah was actually -6.5 early in the week. I think I saw, but then it's come back down to 3. This line has jumped all over the place, but it's moved a lot in the Utah direction. I just don't see it. People thought this Utah team would be good. People had them picked to be in the playoffs, and they've been a letdown in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I tend to agree USC money line, but I wasn't sure if that was my bias or what.
I mean, Utah is not as good as, I mean, I picked Utah to win the Pac-12. I sprinkled them to win the national championship, and they let me down. I just don't. I mean, I've completely flipped now, where I'm like, F Utah. I'm not ever taking Utah, so I'm on USC. But I think USC is a way better team.
Travis Dye was my favorite low-key signing. I don't think he got nearly enough run at Oregon last year. I think he's really good.
Oh, he's awesome. He's really, really good. I mean, I think I wrote an article in like April, I want to say, about the top five transfers that'll make an immediate impact, and Dye was my first guy outside of Caleb Williams, because obviously Caleb Williams is going to be the most coveted transfer. But yeah, Travis Dye has had a great year. I think he'll continue having a great year. I just don't like that he doesn't wear gloves. He just wear some swag. You're a great football player. You don't look cool. But yeah, that's our slate, right?
I think that's it. Yeah, there's not much after the 12:30 games. It gets real, or the 30 games for you. It gets real rough after that.
I got some like little parlay things mixed in and whatnot, but yeah, that's the slate. If you you got a parlay for us, right?
Oh yeah. So I have a little 3:30 parlay. It's the best slate of the week. So I'm gonna put some things on it while I'm watching it. I have Arkansas money line that I talked about, Kent State and Toledo over, which I talked about, over 61.5. And then I have two big kind of money lines. So I have Maryland minus 400 at Indiana. And I had ranked James Madison, folks, minus 420, and that's at Georgia Southern. So that takes it up to plus 425. So bet 20, win 85, something like that.
I like that. I might take that, honestly. I like a 3:30 parlay. That's what I did last. I mean, I think Andrew didn't have a parlay, so I threw in a Mac teaser, which I might do again this week. It's not gonna be the first play for me, but I'm back with a dog parlay. It missed by a leg last week. UTEP against Louisiana Tech. Of course, the team called the Bulldogs is what stuck it to me. And the dog parlay. Yeah, so we missed that one by a leg, but we're back again. Dog parlay, usually all lines. We talked about Illinois, Minnesota earlier. I want Illinois +8. I bought that up a point. I think Illinois keeps it close. They're at home. It should be close. If Minnesota blows them out, I'll be very upset because that'll kill the parlay early, but I don't think they will. Nebraska against Purdue. Nebraska +15. Purdue's a very good football team, but I think Nebraska keeps it close, less than 2 touchdowns. That's why I brought it up to 15. Again, I'm on Wazoo, Washington State +8. Cam Ward I think this is the third week in a row that I put a Washington State alt line in here, and they have hit both times. So I'm going to try to go 3 for 3 with it. I love Cam Ward. I love Washington State. Oregon State's a good team. They're a fun team, but Washington State, I think, could win this game outright. And +8 is the play there. And then I'm ending it with Memphis +8 at Eastern Carolina. Eastern Carolina is a great story. They're a lot of fun. I think Memphis fell apart and blew that game against Houston. But I think if not, this is another team that I could see winning outright. But buy it up to +8. So that's Illinois +8, Nebraska +15, Washington State +8, and Memphis +8. They'll get you +650. Again, if you're on a site that gives you boosts, lets you boost up your parlay, do that. Boost your parlay, and that 650 could get you to either 1,300 or somewhere in the 800s. But yeah, I'm confident in this dog parlay.
We're the dog podcast now.
We are the dog pod. All right, so I will Andrew sent me his lock, so I'll shout him out before you go. Let me just find it real quick. He sent it to me just now.
Did his hit last week?
What's up?
Did his hit last week?
I don't. Yeah, it did. He had the under in Alabama. So he hit that for sure. That was a good one. So he's pretty hot right now. I mean, his slate. I think he's still the leader in the clubhouse because I've been going pretty much like even. I either win one more or win or lose one more, but the stats will come out when we tweet out on Saturday because Tally like tracks our spread picks on over unders and money lines. But I think I'm definitely positive on the year. Andrew Brewster's lock, UNC -7 against Duke. I like that. UNC is a better team. Again, love Drake May. Been harping on Drake May all year. UNC -7 is Andrew Brewster's lock, and I like it a lot.
think UNC is actually another team we got right in our ACC parlay. We said they were going to go over, so that's a one for us.
We'll take the little wins.
Okay, so then my lock, it's moved a lot. So when odds dropped on this, it's TCU versus Oklahoma State over. I have it at 60.5, which I thought was an absurd number. Vegas very clearly agreed. That number has moved up to 68.5. I still like the over here. The line has moved, but I'd written this up for my betting preview. I said I think this game goes over 70 pretty easily. I still think it does. I think these are two phenomenal offenses. These are two of the top 3 offenses in the country in terms of points per game. They both average over 45 points. Both of their defenses allow over 24 points. You add that up, that's 70 points right there. And those numbers in terms of their defense have been skewed a bit. Both of them played an FCS team, with a few D2 teams. TCU played against Colorado, which is like playing a D4 team. So I think both of these offenses are explosive. I think they're going to put some points on the board. I like over 68.5 here as my lock.
Yeah, it's a lock when it moves 8 points and you still love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two great offenses. We talked about them earlier. But for my lock, again, it wasn't even close. Air Force lost outright. I'm done with Air Force. That's it. They've hurt me too many times. They get these big spreads against these bad Mountain West teams on the road, and they lose outright. So maybe that's a trend to look out for. But now we've dropped 2 locks in a row. We went from 3-1, technically 3-0 because I'm not counting the first one. We were on a 3-game win streak and dropped the last 2. Now we're 3-3. So I was really scouring the board. I had to find something, and I found something. I'm going back to the Conference of Champions, the conference that has my heart. We're going to the MAC. We're going Buffalo Bulls -17. That's a 5-star white whale play of the week. Buffalo -17. Buffalo lost their first 3 games. They lost to Maryland. They lost to Holy Cross. Oof. But shout out Andrew Sluka. They lost to Coastal Carolina. And then they won 3 in a row. They beat Eastern Michigan. They put up 50 points. They beat Miami of Ohio in a close one. And they crushed my upset last week, Bowling Green. That wasn't even close. Buffalo is I said in my MAC preview that in order for this team to win games, they need to find their identity as a running team. And they found that with Mike Washington and Ron Cook Jr. That's a 2-headed monster back there. They pretty much split carries equally, and they're both carrying this team. Cole Steiner's a very good game manager. They're only I think it's only 17 points against UMass. UMass is very, very bad. UMass got 19 against Eastern Michigan, and they covered that. Buffalo is a better team than Eastern Michigan, and we saw that. They crushed Eastern Michigan. They'll crush UMass. They should win this game like 45-3. Buffalo will destroy UMass. Buffalo -17. That's the whale play.
We love it.
So, yeah.
Does in fact suck.
Yeah, UMass is very, very – I don't know how Eastern Michigan didn't cover. But that's our show. Matt is on over 68.5. TCU, Oklahoma State, and Drewster's on 68.5 is that number, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. 68.5 over. I love it. And Drewster is on UNC -7, and I'm on Buffalo -17. That is our show. Week 7 in the books. Let's win some money. Transfer Portal CFB. Like, subscribe this video at Transfer Portal CFB, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us. We got a lot of content going out all year long. Great stuff from everybody. We're going to win money this week. I'm very confident this week. This is the week. Let's have it going.